we ready?
Ready?
Yeah. No?
Everyone ready?
A second.
This meeting will come to order. The Board of Trustees for the Mission Consolidated Independent School District will hold a public hearing to discuss the optional flexible school day program on Wednesday, August the 11th at 6:15, which now we're running late, it's 6:25. We are at Bryan Cafeteria. Dr. Pettis, was this agenda posted?
Yes, ma'am. The agenda was posted on August 6th by 11 a.m.
Thank you. On March 16th, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meeting laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic or video conferencing meetings in response to the COVID-19. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify the following. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. Although members of the board are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conferencing or in person. We are meeting by use of Cisco WebEx software application, which allows two-way communication for members of the public who register within the time allotted to address the board during the public comments section of the agenda. The general public will be able to listen through WebEx or by phone with a link or phone number provided on the agenda. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board-adopted procedures to the extent practical. An audio recording of this meeting has been made and will be made available to the public at a later date. The software application allows for 1,000 number of people to view and interact at a time. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions.
We do not have public comments on the specific agenda item. Therefore, we are going to discuss the optional flexible school day program, and Dr. Roberts will be presenting.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Roberts.
Good evening, members of the board, Madam President, Dr. Pettis, those joining virtually, and members of the audience. This evening, we are bringing forward the optional flexible school day program. Please. The optional flexible school day program is a program that is authorized under the Texas Education Code 29.0822 and Administrative Code 129.1027 that allows school districts or open enrollment charter schools to provide flexible days and hours of attendance for students in any grade who meet one of the following criteria. They must be at risk of dropping out of school. The student, as a result of attendance requirements under the Texas Education Code 25.092, will be denied credit for one or more classes in which the student has been enrolled. If they're part of an approved innovative campus, the student is attending a community-based dropout recovery program, or they're in approved early college high school. And if the parent, if the child is under 18 years old, if the parent grants consent for them to participate. We have had this program in our district since 2011-12, primarily at Options Academy, serving our students that are at Mission High School, Veterans Memorial High School, and Mission Collegiate High School. And these are students, the students that we serve are, of course, are at risk of dropping out of school and will be denied one or more credits. Just to give you a little bit of the history, in 2011-12, we did begin using an optional flexible school day for some students. And in that year, we had 19 participants, 5 that graduated, and we were able to generate 358 days of ADA. By 2018-19, which was the last year that we were using optional flexible school day due to the pandemic, we had 77 students that were participating, 54 graduates, and accumulated 948 days of ADA. This year we are, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button. This year we are coming before the board and as presented last week during the board workshop, we would like to apply for all 21 campuses because we can apply for all students kinder and up. And if they're at risk, first of all, coded as at risk, and in our district, we have 86% of our kids that are considered at risk. And if they're in danger of not getting a grade or losing their credit due to attendance. So there are some district responsibilities, such as we have to assess the students on our STAR assessments. We have to provide all the instructional materials, just like we would any other student. Any student cannot be isolated from other students because they're in the flexible school day program. We must provide highly qualified teachers, which we do. We adopt a policy not to penalize students for participating in optional flexible school day in accordance with the 90% rule. And you will recall that our students must be in attendance 75% of the time minimally, but the state requires 90%. If they're between 75% and 90%, we allow them through the attendance committees to make up the days, or we can use optional flexible school day. We have to adopt a policy to require students to attend regularly scheduled instruction for the program, and we have to have a non-attendance policy such as the truancy. We go through the truancy prevention measures. We track the number of students, the minutes the students are in optional flexible school day, and we have to make sure that we're in compliance with the student attendance accounting handbook. We have to comply with all reporting requirements established by TEA. In addition, we cannot discriminate against any student based upon race, color, national origin, religion, or sex or disability. We cannot prohibit a student from participating in an optional flexible school day program. We cannot deny them participation in any UIL activities. Additionally, it is an annual application. We do need to bring before the board. We do need to give you an update on how we are progressing with the program. Students must take all of the state required assessments. They must be eligible to participate in UIL. And continuation or revocation of the program is on an annual basis. And if we are approved, which we have been for the many years that we've been using the program, but if the state comes back and they can say you're not keeping your records correctly or anything like that, they can revoke it, and that's a final decision. However, we work very closely with our information systems to make sure that we're maintaining all of our attendance records. The goal, of course, is to improve graduation rates and help our children that are in danger of dropping out to be able to go on and complete all of their coursework to advance, get back on grade level, and to be able to graduate on time. The attendance credit, what happens with this program is that a student must be in attendance for 45 minutes. After they're there for 45 minutes, we begin calculating the number of minutes that they're in instruction. At the end of the year, we can divide that by 60 and start accumulating additional ADA. But they cannot be in with SDP, they can be in the entire year, but they cannot get full credit of 75,600 minutes. They can only get up to 43,200 minutes. Are there any questions on the optional flexible school day program?
Questions? Susan?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Good.
Anyone?
Dr. Roberts,
Yes, ma'am.
so the teachers are going to be inputting the minutes on these students?
Okay, for Options Academy, we already have that system set up, and it is, some students during the day at Options will go into flexible day, but we have a system set up that they do put in those minutes. For students that are in K through 8, we will set up the system because they'll go into regular school, but say, for example, that, in this pandemic time, they've exceeded the number of absences that they're allowed per year, which is, 15 absences, and then, the state says we can retain them. We can make up that time after school and on Saturdays and just do the record keeping, just like part of our regular tutorial program. Does that make sense, or?
Yes.
And do we have somebody that is going to take over this program, that's going to be in charge of this program, or Are we going to open up a position for this program?
No, we do not have to open a position. What we do is we work closely with info systems and we put processes and procedures into place so every campus knows exactly how to track and they have to sign off on the minutes. So at the end of it, say for example, we have tutoring after school from 3:30 to 5:30, that teacher will have to sign off that the student was there at that time and they sign a record, but they also input it into our attendance system or on Saturdays.
It's just part of the regular attendance procedures.
It's really no additional work for them because they have to track that anyhow because they get paid a stipend and we have to have those student rosters and things like that. So it's just a matter of them signing and then we know that if that student is identified at risk, we can count it for minutes toward their school instructional time. So that if they exceed their allowed time to be absent, we can come back and use this so they can go on and be promoted or earn their credits.
Thank you, Dr.
It really is a very simple process, but we have to monitor it closely, and then there are different cross-checks that we do with information systems.
And in the past, the optional flexible school day, we have been coming to the board and for our secondary students, especially for secondary students, because of different situations. However, now with the conditions that we have, because of COVID, because of different illnesses, we are bringing this to the board to also cover our elementary students, because there's also attendance requirements that students must be in school for 90% of the time in order to be promoted. So we want to be able to have opportunities not only to recuperate the learning loss, but also to give students the ability to be counted present. So because of those illnesses that are now more, maybe more prevalent, respiratory, things like that. So if that is the case, then once students are well and come back to school, then we can have extended day tutorials to catch up with lessons, or even offer Saturday school to recover those days of lost learning. And the students will be counted present for, and adding, if we have so many days of school, if we have how many days of school? 100 and
I think this is 174.
174. So we're able to give credit to the students. And especially, we have students that have had perfect attendance for so many years. They'll be able to recoup that as well. So
it really is a win-win for the student and for the district. Later, I will be presenting in the regular board another program that we are going to be requesting that has to do with House Bill 4545, where we have to offer accelerated instruction. And this will go hand in hand with that because it'll be targeted to the students that are going to go into accelerated instruction. And so we can meet that need while we can also recover their attendance, while we can also target the learning gaps.
good.
It's a win-win because of both, and of course, the learning, and it also will help our graduation rate
Absolutely.
for class students, which are our seniors, and those are that really need the recovery. And of course, our little ones, they won't stay that far behind.
Closing the gap.
I mean, it actually works out,
Yes.
And the thing is, that it's good that we as a district can afford it and we can do that and give that service to our students.
Absolutely.
And more of our I'm sorry.
I propose we move.
More and more of our students are having to work. And that's why we're having to offer like the Options Academy and so forth. If they work during the day, then we're able to offer evening classes for them, or an AM or a PM.
No, we propose that we move.
This program for a while, though.
Since 2011-12.
Yes.
In high schools. This year, we are going to go down to kinder through 8th, which is where it is allowable as well. And the difference between those is that we do have some students at options that do have jobs, and so they go into flex day because they can only go for maybe 2 hours a day. And hopefully opening options for extended hours as well. And for them, that's a little different scenario, but for the elementary kids, when they, and junior high, when they're in attendance, they will get marked of course, for the ADA, regular ADA. Then if they, because if they miss their attendance goals by, the state says 90% and we abide by that. If they don't meet the 90%, they may be retained. So this will help them because we can recover that after school and on Saturdays, which the kids will be coming for after school. Most of the children will be coming after school and on Saturdays. Because with some new regulations that are coming down, we must offer accelerated instruction. And it's going to be more than half of our children that will need that. Any other questions?
Thank you, Dr. Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank
This is my presentation.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comments. Ms. Cindy.
I have a total of 6 public comments.
6.
6. Our first one will be Jacqueline Baez Lugo. Her topic will be, please do not shut down the schools.
I'm going to read.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to read out what I have to read, so all of you, 6 or 7 people. So I'll read it, I'm timing everybody in.
Madam President.
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
So the public comment will take place in the next meeting.
Yeah.
The next meeting, in the next meeting.
Public hearing.
We need to close it right now.
Okay, I apologize. Do I have a motion that we adjourn this meeting?
Yes.
Propose we close.
There's a motion on the floor from Juan Gonzalez, seconded by
I'll second.
Mr. Jerry Zamora. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Benny, you too?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think she can hear. Okay,
Yes.
okay, good. We have a quorum of 7-0. And this meeting is now adjourned at 6:39.
Oh, the mics are on already.
Okay, we're back. What about Miss Betty?
Miss Betty, can you hear us?
Yes.
Right there.
Yes,
That's her.
yes,
How can I say?
okay.
Okay, in accordance with Governor Abbott declaration of the COVID-19 public health threat and action to temporarily suspend certain provisions of the Texas Open Meeting Act, a quorum of the District Board of Trustees will hold its regular board meeting by video conferencing or teleconference. The public will have the option to attend and participate in the meeting remotely by video conferencing or by teleconference. Members of the public that may access this meeting, and it was on the website. At this time, I'll ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Jerry, lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
There we go.
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance
To the
to Texas, one state, under God, one.
and indivisible. For the moment of silence, just keep those people that are still going through COVID and all of that in your prayers for a minute. Thank you. You may be seated. Now we go to comments from the public. And Ms. Cindy, if you can maybe come and, well, no, as you come up front, as she called you, tell us your name and what you're speaking about so everybody will be clear, please. Okay. As we do prior to public comments, I will now state that the Board of Trustees will now hear comments from those persons who have signed up to speak. This portion of the meeting is set aside for parents, students, and community members to speak to the Board of Trustees about any matter of interest to them pertaining in the school program. Under Board Policy, BED, local, the Board of Trustees has allotted 30 minutes to hear persons who desire to make comments on the board on subjects that do not appear on the agenda. Each person who speaks on a subject that is not on the board agenda may speak for no more than 5 minutes. Delegations of more than 5 persons who will speak on a subject that is not on the board agenda shall appoint one person to present their views before the board for no more than 5 minutes. Under Texas Government Code 551.007, the board will hear public comments concerning an item appearing on the agenda. No presentation shall exceed 5 minutes. Persons that use translators will be allowed 10 minutes each. When more than 5 persons seek to provide public comment on items appearing on a meeting agenda, the presiding officer may reduce the time allotted for each person to give public comment to 3 minutes for persons that do not need translators. When the maximum presentation time is reduced, persons who utilize translators shall be allotted twice the amount of time to comment as a person who does not utilize a translator. All public comments is limited to individuals who have signed up for public comment before the beginning of the meeting. During this part of the meeting, the Board of Trustees will listen, but it will not engage in dialogue or debate with the speakers. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by their comments. While it is not the board's intent to stifle public comments, speakers should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, the speaker will be held legally responsible. If any speaker is unsure of the legal ramifications of the comments he or she wishes to make, the speaker may wish to consult first with his or her own legal advisor. The board reminds speakers that public comments is not the time or place to bring the board complaints about a particular employee or individual. The board has adopted specific complaints, policies, and specific procedures for presenting those complaints. Those policies require a written complaint, administrative conferences, and a request that the item be placed on the agenda of a board meeting. If I, as presiding officer, determine that a presentation made during this portion of the meeting is compliance that falls within the scope of one of the school district grievance policies, I will respectfully ask the presenter to stop speaking and to use the board-adopted policies and procedures so that the concern can be heard in the appropriate way. The board expects that request to be honored. The board expects all members of the audience to behave in a polite and orderly fashion during this and all other portions of the meeting. Disruptive conduct will not be tolerated. Person number 1.
We have Jacqueline Paez Lugo. Please do not shut down the schools.
Hi, good evening. Hello.
To the mic so everybody can hear you. Good.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I don't think it's,
Excuse me, Madam President, am I going to time her?
No, we're going to get Cindy to timer.
Oh.
She's here.
That
Not
is-
a problem.
I don't think you can hear me, can?
Okay, there it is now. Okay, it just wasn't on. Okay.
Okay.
Cindy, can you keep time for us? Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline. I'm a parent. I'm a member of the community. And the reason I came here to address you, distinguished people, is because I have a concern about this. There's rumor there's going to be more lockdowns coming down from the county and to the schools. And my concern is that I don't believe that's a good strategy to keep children locked in their house all day long. And I've been reading just different articles, different people. And I read this article, it's Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. He's a doctor from Stanford University. So one of the things that he mentioned about the lockdowns, he said, mental health problems are in a way the most shocking things that's been happening. And the CDC also survey found that young people from 18 to 24 have had seriously considered suicide. Humans are not supposed to be home all day long. They need to be in company with other people. The lockdowns have had a psychological bad effects in some of these young people and also in children. So we should not deny them the socialization. So they should be with other children their same age and also with their teachers. And my experience, my daughter, she graduated already, like I said, part of the community. And she was, I guess, the first class that was like the lockdown class. And I guess she was like a little, not depressed, but she was feeling like, oh, I didn't have a prom. I didn't get to see my friends at the end. So we don't really want to have that like a permanent thing. Every time something happens, oh, we're going to go lock down the schools. I'm pretty sure we're going to have more pandemics and more diseases coming down. And I'm pretty sure the doctors can tell you about that. But I don't think we should use that situation, the lockdowns, as a permanent solution to cover for other things that we can do. So what I was trying to say is I'm actually also going to school myself too. I'm going to UTRGV and we're doing it online. And honestly, it's been kind of boring. I mean, I do my homework, I do everything, but I miss the interaction with my friends, my professors. And I just miss that. And my daughter missed that too. So I'm pretty sure a lot of parents are going to tell you, yeah, we need to go back to school. And of course, we have to have precautions, preventions, and every parent should know what's good for them, for the children. And they need to make their own decision whether you want to have a vaccine, whether you want to wear masks. Let the parents make the best decision for their own children. And I'm pretty sure everything's going to work out fine. And we shouldn't have no forcing the lockdown, no forcing vaccination, no forcing mandate. Let's take one thing at a time. And I'm pretty sure everything's going to work out pretty good for all the children in the valley. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next one is Cynthia Flores, and her topic will be virtual learning.
Hi, good afternoon. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm Cynthia Flores. My topic is a virtual learning option, because right now we don't have one. I agree with what the lady said before. Don't lock down the schools. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Our children need an education, right? I also want to start off by saying, I voted for some of y'all. I know your daughter, your grandkids, your daughters, your son, your grandkids, your son, your daughter, your son, your grandkids. I mean, I voted for you guys because I know your families and I know them personally. So I know the type of people that they are, and they're amazing people. They fight for what's right. They do what's right, not just for themselves, for the people around them. They love their community. And I figured it's a no-brainer, right? They got to learn these morals from their parents. So their parents must be doing an amazing job. They're going to do an amazing job for our community, our students, right? So I'm here as a last chance attempt to ask for an option. Nobody wants the schools to close completely, but we do want that choice. We want that option for the virtual learning. ESSER funds can be used for virtual learning. We keep hearing, we can't do this, we can't, but what I'm understanding is you won't do it. You're willing, right now, I mean, I don't know if you have an estimate on the loss of district revenue if you do offer the virtual learning. I don't know that, but what I do know is that you have a lot of projects in the works, and they're amazing projects. They're things that all of the students would benefit from, right? But they're not emergency projects. The air filters, the HVAC, all of that, yes. 4.2 million for turf in a baseball field, an additional 1.2 for 1.2 million for the football field that you've already spent $11 million on. I mean, those are not emergency things. We have a lot of high-risk students that did excel in virtual learning, and they could benefit from this. Parents are terrified of sending their kids back to school. We've been gradually losing students, right? We've been losing them to charter schools, and now we have this pandemic, and now not even the charter schools are gonna get them. People are gonna be going to homeschooling. They're gonna use that option. Mission has the most cases. I have a chart here that I downloaded from the Hidalgo County website. The city of Mission, 21% of the population has gotten a positive COVID case. We are leading the pack in COVID cases. I have a letter here from an email from Mr. Fidel Garza, the principal at Veterans Memorial. This is his 4th email in the past 4 business days about a positive case, and school hasn't even started. I talked to Dr. Perez today. She clarified a lot of things for me. She clarified a lot of information for me. She did say there are these other schools, right, that are offering that virtual learning. They're richer schools, richer districts. I get it. We don't have that money, but we have money for a baseball field. Yeah, no, that doesn't make absolutely no sense. Also, she mentioned, what kind of message would we be sending if we go against, what the governor wants, right? The message is clear, that you care about our students, that you want what's right, and you will do what it takes, whether it be defying the rules, breaking those rules to do what's right for our students. Protecting the community during an emergency, this is an emergency. Protecting the community during an emergency is a duty. It's not an option for our government leaders.
Thank you, Ms. Flores.
Next, we have Arthur Flores, and it's a reference to mandating masks for children in school. And that's gonna be virtual. Move on to Miguel Escobar, and his topic would all be COVID-19, and it's also virtual. We have Dr. Ivan G. Melendez, Hidalgo County Local Health Authority, and his topic is current information on COVID-19 in Hidalgo County and considerations for CISD school board.
Thank you so much for inviting me today. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I hope you all can hear me okay. I guess let me start by saying my motivation to be here today is to give you all decision makers information. I come here before you without really have a deep passion for it, but I have a cool head about it. And so my job as your health authority is to give you science and to give you data, not to tell you what to do, not to give you my personal opinion, just so you can have more information. There are a lot of minstrels of misinformation that become professional purveyors of misinformation. I find that not only disheartening, criminal, because some people listen to them and it results in death. I can tell you that in the 36 years plus that I've been a physician, by the way, I live 10 blocks away, been here since 1964, I'm in my 60s, and a veteran of Iraq, and I can go on and on. But I have a true passion about this. This is my life. My kids have been to the public school system here. I wake up in the morning, I read about the latest and the greatest through my sources, and then I go to the hospitals where I go to all 7 units and take care of patients. Today I've admitted 7 people. Following me will be our administrator of the health department. We're both here because we love Mission. We both live in Mission, and we both want to make sure that we give you information that we believe to be the truth. So let me start with this. From July 1st till today, we've had a dramatic increase in cases. We were at 46 in the hospital. Today, we're at over 420. I can tell you that 85 to 90% of the people that are in the hospital have been unvaccinated. I can tell you since we started this, counting this, that we've had 4 people that have been fully vaccinated out of 3,000 people that have died in Hidalgo County. I can tell you that there's been 4.1 billion vaccinations given in the world, population almost 8 billion, and there's been 4 million deaths. I can tell you that we've had 999,000 vaccinations, and we've almost reached 3,000 deaths. 4 billion deaths, 4 billion vaccines, 4 million deaths. 997,000, 999,000 vaccines, 3,000 deaths. 90% of the people are unvaccinated. 4 have died fully vaccinated. The numbers speak for themselves. We have all sorts of issues that are affecting the impact of COVID in our community. Of course, the migrants are one of the people that impact our numbers. They're not the cause. Of course, people traveling in the summer and going to church camps is a factor, but they're not the source. Of course, people are getting careless and not using masks and social distancing, but that's not really the overbearing underlying contributor to why our numbers are escalating. Variants are really tearing us apart. We were rejoicing in July when we had 46 cases compared to 1,200 last year. And now we're faced with the ugly truth that these variants are raising their head and they're living both vaccinated and unvaccinated population, but mostly 90% the unvaccinated population. So we cannot control what the governor says. We cannot control, a lot of people don't understand the authority that you are limited to. I understand that. But you do have authority as elected officials. You guys decide what happens in your district to a certain point. We cannot control what the virus does, where the virus chooses to go, but we can control certain things. I would strongly urge you to consider the following. You can look and find 10,000 studies on wearing masks, and you can probably find 100 that say they don't work, but you can find 9,990 that say they do. There's no question that if you look empirically, objectively around the world of those people that have used mask mandates, and you see the numbers of people that subsequently got infected versus those that didn't, the numbers are dramatic. So wearing masks absolutely works. Of course, it's not the size of the pore of the N95 because the virus is much smaller. It's a droplet. You hear that more people die from the vaccine than from the disease. Well, the numbers speak for themselves. 4 billion vaccines, 4 million deaths. 99,000 vaccines in our county, 3,000 deaths. The numbers are easy, greater than, less than. So obviously, the not getting vaccinated poses a much, much greater risk. What can you guys do? Well, it's hard and impossible actually to bring people to come to school and not expect higher numbers. It's going to happen. It's impossible to socially distance. It's going to happen. However, there's things that you can mitigate. Are we worried about the children getting infected and having bad outcomes? Of course we are. But is that our predominant concern? Well, I mean, we've had four people less than 18 years old dying in our community that were children. And true, all of them had comorbidities. But nevertheless, they were less than 18 and they died. In the United States, more than 400 kids have died.
Sir, that's 5 minutes.
Okay, well then I thank you for that. I thank you for the invitation. And I think my message is pretty clear.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Arthur Flores, and his topic will be mandating masks for children in schools.
Mr. Flores, on
Virtual. Virtual.
virtual?
Virtual.
Okay, I see. Is he online?
It's online.
I mean, Mr. Flores?
Yes, ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name's Arturo Flores. I'm a retired teacher. I taught I taught in McAllen for a short time, in Edinburgh for a long time, and for PSJA a longer time. I just heard that MCISD will mandate masks on the school buses, and that's fine. I also heard that Superintendent Dr. Carol Perez says that MCISD will strongly encourage everyone to wear a mask when entering the school buildings. I believe by saying that they strongly encourage does not follow the intent of the governor's order, and that his order should not be challenged. MCISD will not mandate masks in school as per Governor Abbott. That's great. However, what I read was that Dr. Perez says she has concerns with his order, and she says masks have been proven effective in helping control the spread of the coronavirus. I want to provide some information that says that masks, and I'm sure you've heard it before, masks are not good for children. I'm going to try to send out an audio. If it doesn't work, then I'll do something else. I'll continue. Let me know if you can hear this. You will recognize the voice if you hear it.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it, because people are listening really closely to that.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that, man? Gentlemen,
Yes. Yes.
did you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. That was Dr. Fauci himself at one point in the COVID pandemic that we had. He actually said that we should not be wearing masks. Now, there are several things that happen with people wearing masks. They're breathing in their own exhaust. Children are facing mental and physical harm that I know is not necessary. Okay, I want to show you something. Can you see this box?
No.
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 Can you see the box?
No.
Can you see me?
No. Nope.
What do I need to do? Start video?
Correct.
Can you see me? Okay.
There you go.
Here we go. This is a box you can find at Walmart, at Costco, at Kmart, all kinds of different places, Home Depot, Lowe's. And what it says on the box, it says that this is not recommended for use in a clinical setting where the risk of infection through inhalation is high. That's easy to read. But I do need my glasses. The second box, if you can see it, it says, these products are not intended for medical use or to prevent any disease or illness. Each mask is intended for single use only. Okay? These are the normal kind of masks that people buy. Those boxes, there's different brands. Most of you will, let me go on. I went to those different stores, Home Depot, Costco's, and Lowe's. I took pictures with my phone. I had to use something like this to read them because the wording is so small. One of the boxes says these masks are not for medical use. Another one says that this respirator is not guaranteed to protect against the risk of contracting a disease or infection. Disease or infection. This next one, I got it online at Amazon because a lot of people shop at Amazon. It says, question, will these masks prevent the transmission of COVID-19? The answer, these disposable masks are non-medical and will not prevent the transmission of COVID-19. That's what the answer was. Two more. They're pretty much the same quote. It says, failure to use and maintain this product could result in injury or death. These kinds of things that you can buy. These are the words that I found, and I took pictures with my phone. Another one says, they will not reduce the risk of illness or death. Most of you have heard, and I pointed this out to you. These are the normal.
Mr. Flores,
yes,
your 5 minutes are up, sir.
Okay, can I have 10 seconds?
Real quick.
Okay, the same kind of information that says will not prevent infection or disease or could result in injury or death, the same information, I have them in pictures on N95 boxes. You've heard of N95.
Okay.
So that's my point. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Next, we have Eddie Olivares, in reference to COVID-19 for Hidalgo County.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Eddie Olivares. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for Hidalgo County Health and Human Services. But more importantly, I'm a resident of Mission. I live right down the street. And one time I was sitting in your place many years ago. And all of you, I've known all of you forever. But you know, you all have a very difficult duty and a very difficult thing to do. But I know each and every one of you well enough to know that you have the best intentions of every student and of every teacher and of every professional in Mission School District. So I thank you for your sacrifice and your commitment. I want to start off by saying a couple of things that echoing some information that was just given. Unfortunately, as of this morning, actually this afternoon, we have 520 cases today by itself. I'm going to give you situational awareness. 520 cases today. Out of those 520 cases, 217 are people that are less than 19 years old. 125 are between 0 and 11, which are not vaccinal, they're not vaccine age, and 92 between 12 and 19. We've had 102,745 cases. We've had 2,984 fatalities. But what's important to understand, 90% of those fatalities occurred before the vaccine ever came into existence. We started vaccinating on December 27th of 2020. We started vaccinating in strength. But you have a hero in this room right now. Mr. Trevino, right there.
Yes.
Every single nurse, clerk, custodian that helped vaccinate thousands of people in Mission School District and throughout this area. She led the team.
I know.
That takes commitment. The other thing I want to bring up real clear, the reality is masks are a tool. It is correct. But he said there, many of those masks, exactly what he read, he's right. But these masks are not designed to keep everybody sterilely clean. It's designed for the person who may be asymptomatic, not spreading it to something else by stopping some of the droplets. That's all it is. It's not a cure. It's a tool. What's the cure or not the cure? What's the best tool? Vaccine. Simple as that. The other thing that's important to mention is that we have a situation where out of all the people in the hospital, 425 today, 85 to 90% of those are not vaccinated. Over 50% of them are less than 50 years old. And right now, I have in the pediatric, we have, let me see, how many PDs? We have 36 PDs, 11 in ICU, and probably 3 of them are not going to survive. Why? They got exposed on vacation, they got exposed by family, they weren't vaccinated. So the simple thing for you all is that we as parents, elected officials, and community members need to understand something. The internet is not the best source of information all the time. We are doing the best we can with as much information as we can. Dr. Perez calls us regularly. She takes part in our meetings. Very important. The other part that's important to bring up to each and every one of you is this is not, if I wear a mask, doesn't mean I'm one particular political party. If I don't wear a mask, I'm not another political party. I wear a mask because I feel that I'm contributing to my community. Okay? And if you don't wear one, that's your right. You can do what you want. But I feel that I have the right to do this. The other thing that's important, and to finish, 999,000, nearly 1,000 vaccines, 1 million vaccines have been given. We still got a long way to go. We encourage all 18 to 35-year-olds, please get your vaccine. We encourage all your teachers to get your vaccine. Everybody in the community can benefit from the vaccine. 4 people who were very, very sick with cancer and other illnesses died while fully vaccinated out of the hundreds of thousands that have been already vaccinated. How many people die in DWIs every year? Think about that. That's what I have to say. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. You all have a blessed day. God bless.
Try to see if, Miguel Escobar can call in again. Okay, that's it now.
Thank you. That's it? Okay.
We'll now go to superintendent's updates.
Thank you. Okay. Trying to get the microphone so that everybody can hear me. Right. First of all, we'd like to start by letting everyone know that our Mission CISD board is not only the Region 1 Board of the Year, as recognized by TESA, but is also one of 5 finalists in the running for Texas Board of the Year. 20 service centers in the state of Texas, 5 school boards are on the running. And they have been selected as honor boards as part of the 2021 Texas Association of School Administrators. It's sponsored by TESA and corporate partners. Each year, the program recognizes outstanding Texas school boards for commitment and service that has made a positive impact on Texas public schools. Since 1971, the TESA program has honored Texas School District Boards of Trustees that have demonstrated dedication to student achievement and put students first. Then not only is our Mission CISD Board of the Year for Region 1, but again, a finalist for the Texas Board of the Year. The finalists for the program's highest honor, 2021 Outstanding School Board of the Year, will be interviewed, the 5 school boards, during the TESA-TESB convention in Dallas at the end of September. So congratulations to our board. We continue to stay vigilant and we monitor COVID-19 conditions as we collaborate with local physicians and county health experts. Every decision that we make, we don't make it lightly. We contact our health officials at the county, locally, and at the state level. And that is the reason why we strongly use the 3 Ws as recommended by the Center for Disease Control. Washing of hands frequently or using hand sanitizers, watching our distance, and wearing of masks is strongly recommended. And we will be sending out a parent survey very soon to find out the preferences of our parents. And we met with Judge Cortez this afternoon. He called a meeting with superintendents, and he would like some of the data shared that we have as well. And so also, it is true, we are going to be mandating masks in our school buses. And that's simply to protect our children and staff. And that is a federal transportation guideline that allows any public transportation in the United States to be able to make that mandate. So we will be able to do that. And of course, legal counsel is here and they have, we've run it through them and it has passed. And not only that, we're also sending letters to parents that it states, as the first day of school approaches, we want to inform you that Mission CISD will require all students who ride a school bus to wear a face mask. This is following federal orders provided by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Any student boarding a school bus on August 16 and thereafter that does not have a mask will be provided. So in our buses, that's going to be non-negotiable. In our schools, we will offer a mask to children, to staff. We cannot mandate it based on the governor's executive orders. Do we strongly recommend? Definitely. Will my own child be wearing a mask? Definitely. Will my nephews and nieces and cousins' children? Definitely. Myself? Definitely. Why? It's not only to protect myself, but to protect my peers. We are also implementing several more safety measures in our school buses that go beyond what we have shared about cleaning and disinfecting after every route. We're e-misting with the Clorox 360 that gets into the nooks and crannies. Students will also be assigned seating, and so that we'll be able to do contact tracing. Family members will be sitting together. And we will continue to have hand sanitizer available in our buses. The air filters on our buses will be replaced weekly and are effective. We have purchased new filters that are effective against COVID-19 viral particles, and they capture it through the filters. Plus, we will continue to open windows, a small amount to increase the ventilation and fresh air intake while running the air conditioning systems. And that is recommended by the experts. Because of Governor Greg Abbott's executive order, Mission CISD cannot mandate masks in our schools, but the federal order requiring them will apply to our school buses. A person who cannot safely wear a mask because of a disability, as defined by the Americans with Disabilities Act, will not be required to wear a mask. And most of our special education students do ride different buses too. So we'll make accommodations as needed. So we will continue to strongly encourage everyone entering our school grounds and schools to wear a mask. Those who arrive not wearing a mask will be offered one by our Mission CISD employees. We will continue to screen temperature upon entries to our campuses. And again, we are abiding by the governor's executive orders. As an employee of the district, I am required, and through ethics, to follow every single mandate that comes from Texas Education Agency, from the governor's office, and from the United States Department of Education and federal guidelines. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, Mission CISD led the way since the beginning of the pandemic. And I have a picture of the resolution that our school board signed on July 10, 2020. And that resolution still stands. We were the very first district to pass that resolution. I know that other districts have been passing them. We were the first school district. And that resolution, our school board stated, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees will take all actions within its power to protect the students, families, employees, and community members of the Mission Consolidated School District from exposure to COVID-19. That the Board of Trustees authorizes the superintendent without further action of the Board of Trustees to petition state and local authorities to act to protect the students. So I will not defy orders, but I will advocate for virtual learning, for whatever things we feel we need in our school district. So the board authorizes a superintendent without further action of the Board of Trustees to petition state and local authorities to act to protect the students, families, employees, and community members of the Mission Consolidated School District from exposure to COVID-19. We were the only school district that continued to have remote instruction until the very end. And in a meeting with superintendents, I told the commissioner that we could not afford to lose another life. We had already lost some lives, and that we would have to do virtual instruction. At the same time, we had parents that needed to work and needed their children in our classrooms. And that was the best option that we could do. And that is the reason why he granted permission. And he called me several times to ask me, what else do you need? What else can we do? So we do have a good working relationship. At this time, his hands are tied. However, we will continue to advocate and make our wishes known and our needs known. During the pandemic, Mission, the area of Mission, Alton, Palmhurst, the city of Mission, our consolidated school district, I was able to write letters showing the statistics. And that is the reason why we were allowed to go longer. And I will continue to do that with the governor, with whoever it takes. As a matter of fact, today, the county judge called a meeting. There we go. Why? Because he wanted to know how can we support us. And we told him exactly what it is that we need from him to support us. That the district will support the efforts of Hidalgo County to restore the county's legal authority to act to protect the health and safety of the students' families, employees, community members of the Mission Consolidated School District. And that is exactly what I told the judge today. We are in support of you taking authority and providing us with authority. That the Board of Trustees authorize the superintendent to request that the county impose whatever facility occupancy restrictions it deems necessary to protect the health and safety of district, students, and staff, while permitting the district to provide in-person educational services to the children of essential workers and to children with special needs as recognized under federal law, if that is what the parents need. We are here to serve. We are here to meet the needs. And we understand that every child is different. What's best for one child, for one family, will be very different to the next. District convocation for all district employees will now be held tomorrow morning at the Newhouse Gym at Mission High School. So why did we move it from the arena? Conditions began to change. We don't set up a huge event within a couple of months or a few weeks. We had graduation because it was safe to congregate. Yet as conditions began to change, we made those changes. So we want to avoid large group congregations. We must try to keep our employees as safe as possible to be able to meet the needs of our students beginning August 16th. Meet the Teacher Night was also moved virtually. You heard the statistics of what's occurring. So we are doing everything possible to avoid large congregations. We don't know what may walk in. Regarding virtual instruction, there are a few items that I would like to talk about. It is a fact that other school districts will be offering virtual instruction. Some school districts, such as Round Rock, stated a few weeks ago that they would be offering 200 slots. So how do you do that? Who's going to be first? Other school districts that are property-rich districts, They don't depend on state funding to run their schools and to pay for salaries, instructional resources, so they're able to forego of ADA. And I do have some information that I'd like to share. And I will talk about children with special needs or children with health conditions as well. Information is changing as conditions are changing. So we are having to be flexible and act on the information that's coming before us.
Excuse me, Ms. Garcia, before you start, Dr. Perez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think they just fixed the problem. Okay, never mind.
Okay, thank you.
I was having trouble with the laptop, but I got it. Thank you.
Okay, while you all get that going, for children that do have health conditions, we or have immunocompromised situations or conditions, we will certainly work with our families to provide 504 services, either through homebound or depending on the educational plan that is developed, which may include virtual instruction. The conditions are rapidly changing, so we will be working with our students. And I have asked our 504 department to work with our nursing department as well, because we do have data as far as our children's health conditions. And so parents will be notified. Parents will be notified, and parents can also contact us so that we can start working on the 504 processes. Now, 504 is not part of special education. 504 can be a health situation, and it's about providing accommodations so that we can provide a free and appropriate education for all of our students. Okay, Ms. Garcia? Here, what you have is data, and these are the school districts and how much revenue they get from the state. And as you can see, Austin ISD has announced that they will be providing virtual instruction for all of their elementary students. So look at the percentage of funding that Austin ISD receives. The same thing, Plano, those Round Rock, those are the property-rich districts, Leander. Now look at the Valley. Mission CISD. Okay? We depend at least at 67% of our revenue comes from state funding. So that's the comparison. So districts are offering limited virtual learning. Even here in the Valley, there's one school district that is providing 200 slots. However, those 200 slots, that particular school district only accepts children with very high grades. The example is Leander ISD. They are offering 332 slots for virtual learning. Their enrollment is 40,250. So this is available to less than 1% of their enrolled students. Last year, they had 48% of in-person attendance during the last 6 weeks, where we had about a 3%. And this is compressed ADA. Of course, in-person students, we had about 24%. So let's look at the estimated revenues in comparison by source. If we look at local revenues, we only get 17% of local revenues, and that's really taxes. If you look at federal dollars, that's the green. We get 12.58. So 69.96 is the state revenue. That is what runs our school district. And that is the average daily attendance. So if the governor, if the commissioner is telling us, if you go virtual, you're not going to get your 70% of state funds, how are we going to run the school district? How are we going to make payroll? The funding will be gone. It has been suggested use ESSER. If we were to provide virtual instruction for our elementary students, for all, it's more than 100 million. Money that we don't have. That will not stop me and us from advocating. Why? Because we're looking at the conditions. However, we also have been hearing from our public health experts, such as Dr. Melendez and others, that healthy children that do not have underlying conditions will be okay. We are worried about the at-risk children, immunocompromised, and we will have 504 services. It will take time to go through the process. And why? Because federal guidelines mandate that we follow certain steps. However, we are committed to providing a free and appropriate education, that's called FAPE, to every single one of our children. It doesn't matter who the child is. So any parent can contact us, contact my office, the special education 504 office, or any of our staff members, and we will be working with our parents in collaboration with our principals. No child that has a health issue will go without an education. And that is the commitment that we make. We are here to serve our children. People talk about regular education children. There's no such thing as regular children. All of our children are different, and we are here to meet the individual educational needs of our children. Another item that came to us, and it came to me early Thursday morning last week, and immediately I got the team going, our executive leadership team going. The TEA will be allowing school districts to offer 20 days of what they call comfering, or better known as virtual instruction, for students that test positive for COVID and need to be quarantined. So in early spring, TEA said, if the legislature approves virtual learning, school districts are welcome to submit an application, and we'll return it to you and say approved or not approved, work on these things. So we submitted 3 different plans to the Texas Education Agency. It came back stamped approved, provided the legislature passes the bill. Well, you saw the bill did not pass. As a matter of fact, right now, last evening, the Senate, because of the special session, the Senate Education passed a virtual instructional bill. Now, the committee passed the bill, and it will now go to the full Senate for consideration. So things may change. And if a child is provided those 20 days because they're in quarantine, we will be providing virtual instruction. And if a child needs more time because of the illness and is certified by a physician, then we will be allowed to submit a waiver and provide more days for those children to continue with virtual instruction. So again, the situation right now is very fluid. We may have another conference call with the commissioner or the service center or the county, and we will be flexible and we will continue to work as a team and act as fast as we possibly can to meet the needs of our children. And that's what I have for today's update.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Next on the agenda is internal auditor quarterly report. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Madam Superintendent. First item in presentations is internal auditor quarterly report. This evening, Ms. Becky McGee, the district's internal auditor, will be presenting the report.
Okay, good evening, Madam Board President, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Pettis. The district's internal audit chart requires that a written report be submitted to the board on a quarterly basis. My written report, which has been included in the agenda for your review, covers the period April 1st through June 30th, 2021. Along with my written report, I prepared a very brief PowerPoint presentation. So during this past quarter, I conducted an internal audit of the district's purchasing card program. The purchasing card program was implemented several years ago to establish a more cost-efficient and cost-effective method of paying for smaller dollar transactions, as well as high-volume repetitive purchases. District credit card charges for the audit period totaled approximately $3.6 million and consisted of over 3,800 individual transactions. And audit objectives included determining that transactions were compliant with administrative policies and procedures, supported by adequate documentation, properly classified and recorded timely, appropriate for district business, and reflected correctly on bank reconciliations. Capital asset testing was also done. Capital assets are items that have a useful life of more than 1 year and a unit value of $5,000 or greater. And so these are the different classes of capital assets. So objectives of testing included verifying existence and accuracy of capital asset subsidiary information. Inventory testing was also done. So inventory at year-end will total over 2.6 million and consist of maintenance, transportation, child nutrition program, central warehouse, and PPE distributed through Region 1. And so campus and student activity funds, because there's been limited activity, I've included only 2 summary slides, but attached to my written report is a listing of balances by campus. And so this slide is a year-to-year comparison. There's been a decrease in activity compared to the prior year. The ending balances at June 30th, 2021 of $997,000 will roll over to the next term. And so on this last slide is a breakdown of that balance. $682,000 or 69% belongs to the secondary campuses, and $287,000 or 29% belongs to the elementary campuses. Again, all unspent monies a year and roll over to the current fiscal year. And unless you have any questions, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. Any questions, anyone?
Yes, I have, just in the first slide, you said about the $3.6 million on the credit card. So.
Yes.
Can you not break it down, but just, I didn't hear the scope of the.
Okay, so the scope of my testing, I believe it covered July 1st through April, I believe. And so for that time period, the district had $3.6 million in credit card transactions, meaning payments made by credit card.
Yeah, so they can charge anything as to, instead of making the other paperwork, or?
So there are limitations as to how the credit cards can be used. I think there's a daily limit of $1,000. It needs to be, I think that does include both approved.
Thank you, can I respond? I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Ms. Ramirez, we do have, when we implemented the credit card program, we did give options. It's a voluntary program for campuses and departments to use for the most part. We do have purchase orders in place. One of the big items that we pay is we pay utilities. We try to take advantage of that. City of Mission is one of our utility providers, and so we do process payments to City of Mission via credit card. And there's an incentive for the school district, obviously, to process those payments using the credit card. We also pay the energy bills. And so we work with our depository, which is BBVA, to steer vendors so that they accept the credit card payment as the district generates a small rebate on that. So a lot of times we process, instead of cutting them a check, or accounts payable staff process the payment using the credit card. We do also allow flexibilities to the campuses and departments, because a lot of times they use the credit card to purchase breakfast or food-related items for in-service or trainings or different meetings. And so when they do charge minimal amounts, and minimal would be less than $1,000, they know that they're required to submit a requisition within 48 hours that they made the expense. And so we do have controls in place. They have been reviewed by Ms. McGee, and they have also been reviewed by the district's independent auditor, and we are comfortable with the process that we have.
Thank you, I appreciate that, so I just, that's what I wanted to hear. The utilities, the purchase orders, all of that, I mean, they're big items.
Yes.
That the schools order, but I wasn't,
Yes.
like 3.6 is a lot of money.
Yes, and we do have, and that's because we haven't had a lot of trouble. What we do is with the coaches, especially coaches and other extracurricular like the fine arts, before they would take the PO to Whataburger, Peter Piper, or whatever the vendor may be. And a lot of times they were having to make changes because the Whataburger was already packed and they couldn't serve the team. So now what we do is we give credit cards to the coaches for the most part, and it has worked out great for them.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great program. We also do have a staff member, one of our staff accountants, that monitors the activity on the credit card on a daily basis. So we are able to check all the activity that we see.
That is great that the coaches are getting their cards and whoever travels, because it used to be a problem. They were stuck in Whataburger and had to call in for approval, and so that was a mess. So thank you. And
Question on that, do we have any rewards on the credit cards?
You know what? Excuse me.
Rewards?
Yes, we do get a rebate depending, of course, on the volume that we spend. We generate an amount. The last couple of years, it's been about 125,000, 150,000. And not too long ago, we did a report on the credit card usage, and this, of course, was before pandemic. What we can do is I can work with staff to give you an update on the credit card usage and the rebates and how it's been since the inception of the program. So I can definitely have staff work on that and provide you a.
Maybe we need to use it more.
Oh, yes, we try to push it, like, we work hard on that.
Do the same at my organization, that's why I was asking.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. McGee.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This is an important question.
Good
Good evening, President Rogers, members of the board, Dr. Pettis, Superintendent, members of the audience. As we know, this time of year, the campuses are preparing for football season. The coaches, the players, they've all been practicing hard all summer long, and especially in this heat. So the status of the Tom Landry Stadium is in many people's minds. So this is just a brief status report. G&G Construction was the general contractor that's awarded the contract to conduct the repairs. A notice to proceed was issued on July 28th, 2021. They have a completion time of 255 days, which brings the stadium to substantial completion mid-April of 2022. So that is the brief status of the stadium. Any questions?
Where are we on the legal side?
On the legal side, that's a question that myself cannot answer. Possibly, it can go, Mr. Hanson can answer that.
And I believe that we're going to talk about that in closed session.
Executive session, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Are we in projection as far as where construction is at now?
It's already on.
They have already started working. They've mobilized their work crews and they're working daily. And our project and energy coordinator, Mr. Adrian Hernandez, is going daily, and he's also began taking pictures, photographs. And we're working closely with Rick and Hinojosa Structural Engineering on the progression of the project. They have mobilized, yes.
Is the parking lot going to be able to be used while they're working?
Part of the parking lot has already been closed because they need a lay-down area, and that's already been fenced. And we're working closely with the campus, the principal, and so, teachers can have some parking space and students also. But there are areas that have been blocked off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. The Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee is bringing.
We cannot hear you, Dr. Roberts.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good evening. The Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee is bringing before the board discussion and approval of the intervention program. This is solicitation 212-22-00. Students in tier 2 and tier 3 instruction, in the 8th grade, are in need of a research-based accelerated learning intervention program in reading and math to address gaps in instruction. These programs will be used by interventionists as well as students in accelerated learning, as well as by HB 4545 students who did not take or did not pass the same test assessment of academic readiness. These intervention programs need to follow a systemic, explicit, direct instruction with clear objectives and engaging lessons driven by progress monitoring intervention programs. These programs are needed for K-5 literacy in English and in Spanish, as well as K-5 math and 6-8 literacy. We went out for a solicitation. We received 8 responses. We had a committee that did review all of the vendors, and we would like to award 4 vendors the solicitation. The K-5 English literacy program is Ponce Centennial at a cost of $382,631. For Spanish, Benchmark Soluciones, $298,529. And then we have K-5, which is for math, with iReady, $10,740, and 6-8 literacy dyslexia Power Up. The total cost for all of these programs will be $709,400.60. Now, this program, I know that last week at the workshop, Mr. Nurse brought up, she was asking, what did we know about the learning gaps? And so we know that about 61% of our children in 4th and 5th grade assessed on the STAR. They came in and took the test last year. Out of those 61%, about 59% did not meet their approach level. Thus, we have all of the children that did not come into test. And so that's 81%. Hospital 4545 requires us to provide 30 hours targeted instruction in each area that the student did not take or did not pass. We will be administering, which is allowed by the state.
Excuse me, Dr. Roberts. That is in addition to the daily instruction.
In addition to the daily instruction, the children cannot be taken out of foundation, enrichment, recess or PE, or any other program that is offered to all of the children. So we met with the principals, we're working with the principals on how to integrate this tutoring. And this tutoring is per area. So if a student, say for example, in 4th grade took reading, writing, did not pass any, that's 30 hours of accelerated instruction in each area. We do know we have wide gaps to close, and so that this is with the elementary literacy program, these are research-based. They're expensive, but we're going to be using them in the intervention classes for all these children in 4th and 5th grade who are required to have that accelerated instruction, as well as all the children in K through 3rd that we already know have gaps. And the student-teacher ratio for this program, we can ask for a waiver from the parents, but the student-teacher ratio the state is requiring is 3-to-1. So we do need the systemic resources that we can do progress monitoring with and that we do not deviate from, that we implement with fidelity. And this is where our literacy coaches that we have will be closely monitoring and working with our interventionists and with these programs. One of the things, whenever we go out and we purchase or we renew, we always check on usage. And we are asking the board to approve these programs for our intervention.
And the funding source?
The funding source will be with ESSER funds.
And that's what we're required to do.
And this is just the programs, the vendors don't provide employees or?
No, this is, our teachers will be needing to.
How are we going to handle that? How are we going to get our teachers, because we're saying it's after school or before school. How are we going to manage that?
We are working on different ways, like in elementary, one of the suggestions was maybe during some of the computer time, we pull out small groups, but we are also, every campus is getting substitute teachers or team teachers or tutors during the day. It can also help us to work within a classroom or pull out,
They don't have to be certified?
No, not for House Bill 4545. What they do want is that they want us to try to get the same tutor. So if you're working with, Sharon Roberts, they want you to work with her consistently and not be changing that tutor so that you can also be tracked back for students.
Because you said it's 3-to-1, right?
Yes, but we can ask for the parents for a waiver, and we can go a little bit higher. We're very, we do have the interventionists, which the board approved for us to have an additional interventionist at the elementary, and in each secondary we have a reading and a math interventionist, and we are monitoring those class sizes, because with true intervention we should not have more than 8 students. Sometimes we may go up to 10, but with tier 2 instruction, 8 students is still quite a lot. But if they do not make it after a certain period or do not see the growth, then we'll go down to even 3 or 4 within the day for intervention.
In addition, as you will recall, upon the disbursement of ESSER funds, there were strings attached. We were to either survey staff and the community or have focus groups, and we did both. So what came out of all of that is what we're spending our ESSER funding on, which was a requirement. And we had to submit the application with the backup. So the recommendation was that we hire interventionists for our elementary schools. So we were able to hire 14 interventionists that will be able to do small groups and provide this type of support. And then also, recommendation was that we extend the time of the team teachers. Campus principals utilize their Title I funds and bring in retired teachers as team teachers to also help with small group instruction. So the other recommendation was hire team teachers for an extended period of time, utilizing those funds. Another recommendation was hire tutors. Of course, we're not just going to hire anybody, because when we use federal funds, these individuals have to be highly experienced and qualified. So the teacher of record is required to have the certification and endorsements. However, the teachers or tutors that are working with students must have certain abilities and educational attainments as well. So that's why the vacancies are posted in the manner that they are. In the same manner, the feedback was, instructional materials. So now we're using the ESSER funding, the feedback, and that's what was submitted at the end of June. to TEA. And now with those requirements that TEA is providing, we're able to utilize the resources through the various funds that we have to work collaboratively.
Dr. Perez, I have a question on the tutoring, the hiring of the tutors and the subs. And I know that there's some cases out there that have gone through the substitute training after they were aides at our school district with no college hours. So they don't qualify because they don't have college hours, but then they have 15, 16 years of working within the district as aides, or what?
Okay, what's happened in the past that when the highly qualified era came, some individuals might have been grandfathered and they were given an assessment and so forth. However, now with the new regulations that we have and guidelines, they must have 48 college hours, 40 at least.
Tutors and the mentors?
Okay, now with the tutors, it's going to be slightly different. Okay, Ms. Pacheco, would you like to address that? If you can come to the podium.
Because I know that people questioning that,
And it depends also on the grade level of the student.
Like the elementaries were.
Absolutely.
Tutors.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. To answer that question, our tutors are tiered between those that have less than 47 college hours, which most are like your band techs, or some of them will be our coaching co-op students that go and tutor, help tutor, that's what we call them. Our teen teachers are our higher level teachers. Usually those are retired teachers, and those are the ones that are utilized in the classroom. Okay. I know this year with the whole ESSER funds that we're looking at tutors, it all depends how we're going to be utilizing them. If we're utilizing them in the classroom, if they have the college hours, then they'll get paid accordingly for that.
Like, for example, let's say that we need to find tutors for algebra or biology. Then we need individuals that are highly qualified to teach that.
So even though they are retired aides, they don't have any college hours at this particular time, but they went through the sub-training, they still cannot be hired.
They can be hired as a substitute. They have their certificate for a substitute and their high school.
But they can be hired as subs.
Yes, ma'am, if that was the question.
Yeah, but without college hours?
Without the college hours, yes. We do, for tutors, it's a little different because like, for example, with our Gear Up tutors, those are specific requirements in their job description. And if they say they have to have X amount of college hours, then the job description tells us how to select individuals. So like for them with Gear Up, because it is a grant funded, they specify what those tutors have to have. Normally, we do want our tutors that are going out to help our students, help our students in the classroom, especially academically, to have some college hours, because then they'll have that expertise in those subjects. So like our band techs right now, we look at their college hours, they have to provide some college schedules to us in that field as well, so.
I got mine, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or anything you'd like to mention from me that we are requesting?
Do I have a motion?
I so moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor by Ms. Petra Ramirez and a second from Jerry Zamora. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
In the discussion and possible action items, item 1, consideration and approval of bids, proposals, and purchases of 2000 and over. Item A, award purchase of air systems for classrooms 105-22-0. Administration is bringing forward a recommendation to award the purchase of air systems for classrooms number 105-22-0 to Austin Air Systems. The estimated cost is $524,000, and this will be out of the general fund expenditure, and this is a recommendation that was provided by the evaluation committee from the purchasing department and the maintenance and facilities department as well.
So move.
A second. I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Roy Vela, seconded by Ms. Petra Ramirez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Item B, award the purchase of intervention programs to 12-22-00. Dr. Roberts just presented that item. Item C, award purchase of fleet school buses 703-22-0. Administration wishes to hold this item as the solicitation has been extended. This item will be brought forward for your consideration at the next board meeting. Item 2, renewal for administrative services only agreement of the Mission CISD's self-funded group health insurance plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas for the 2021-2022 plan year. This item was presented last week at the board workshop under the finance portion of the agenda. However, we didn't have handouts to the board. And the item was discussed by Ms. Cruz. And administration is bringing forward a recommendation of the approval of renewal for administrative services only agreement of the Mission CISD self-funded group health insurance plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas for the 2021-2022 plan year. And the amount estimated for this is $41,500. And this is out of general fund, and this is the projected amount. This amount reflects a decrease of $92,140 over prior year's amount. Administration recommends the renewal of this item as presented. Motion.
So move.
Second. Have a motion on the floor by Mr. Roy Vela, seconded by Ms. Petra Ramirez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of non-college board pre-AP course name change. A little bit of background on this is that in 2018-19, College Board trademarked the pre-AP. For many years, we'd had pre-AP and AP. And maybe around 2011, 2012, we had to start, actually in 2006, we had to start submitting an audit for AP. They wanted to make sure that we had fidelity with their program. They began developing their pre-AP program. And so we started using the College Board pre-AP program. However, we do have a lot of courses, especially junior high, that we identify as pre-AP. We can no longer use the trademarked pre-AP.
Can you explain what AP means?
Okay, AP, of course, is your advanced placement, which comes through College Board. College Board is the one that also provides your SAT. They're the ones that that create and assess for the TSI assessment. They're all the ones that, SAT, TSI, AP. We still have ACT, but they're like a standalone now for college ready and everything. Everything is through College Board. But now we do have the pre-AP program that we began using a couple of years ago. It's not for every course. Right now we have 8 courses that we are using. Teachers do, just like with the AP program, teachers go through training and they have they have to submit syllabi, things like that to be able to use the program. So we've been using the pre-AP program, but this is the year that we must no longer use the pre-AP label unless it is a pre-AP course whereby our teachers are going to training and using their curriculum. We do have that as a weight, and many of our core courses, which are weighted for rank, they have the pre-AP label. So we are requesting just a name change. We call that honors. It would still be at the same weight as the pre-AP. But there are certain classes that College Board does not have that we would still like to be able to use at the honors level weight. So this will require also, the first step would be, the board approving a name change. And what we'll do is have pre-AP/honors. So if it is a pre-AP course through College Board, we will continue that. And if not, we will change the name to honors. It will be exactly the same weight. The first step is the board approving this name change. And then the second step will be going through and actually doing a policy change because of the rank. All of the courses, board policy, EIC, local, have a weighted rank, and we need to add honors to that. Are there any questions?
Questions, anyone?
I'm sorry?
Motion?
I so move.
A second. I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Juan Gonzalez, seconded by Ms. Petra Ramirez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion.
Our next item is consideration and approval of a revised 21-22 academic school calendar. Trustee?
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Bettis. Tonight, we are presenting information and asking for the approval of a revised 21-22 academic school calendar. A little bit of background information. In January of 2021, the District Educational Improvement Council met and developed calendars A, B, and C options. All Mission CISD employees that had the opportunity to vote on those calendars, and they voted electronically, and the results were submitted to the Office of Special Programs and School Improvement. The total number of employees voting was 1,862, with 697 voting for calendar A, 754 voting for calendar B, and 411 voting for calendar C. The calendar option with the most votes, calendar B, was submitted and approved by the board on February the 10th of 2021. The approved calendar, which includes a holiday bad weather day on Monday, February the 7th, which is commonly referred to as Super Bowl Monday, and typically a high absence day. Due to a change in the NFL schedule, Super Bowl Monday now falls on February the 14th.
Crazy schedules.
Yes, the NFL did add one game to the regular season. So this day has been designated a holiday on all calendar options for the past several years at the request of district employees. In order to continue to satisfy this request, the district is requesting that the currently scheduled holiday or bad weather day be changed from February the 7th, 2021 to February the 14th, 2022 to February the 14th. There is a copy of, I have included a copy of the current calendar that was board approved in February, along with a revised calendar, and the only change is the change of February the 7th to February the 14th. So tonight, if there are no questions, we're going to be asking for your approval on the calendar change.
So move.
It is Valentine's Day, right?
There was a motion by Ms. Iris Iglesias. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded.
Seconded by Ms. Betty. Motion on the floor by Mr. Roy Vela, seconded by Ms. Betty Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen, you are better, right? A motion carries 7-0.
Item number 5 is recommendation and approval of the selection for the ESER 3 licensed professional counselors to ESER 3 grant accountant. And item C, we are not bringing a recommendation tonight. Item D is ESER 3 social workers, 3 of them. And item E, we're not bringing a recommendation tonight. And then item F is assistant superintendent for finance.
We go to executive session.
Yes.
Item number 6 is approval of the 2021-2022 Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System, T-Test appraisal timeline. And the timeline was worked out with human resources as well as the leadership team for curriculum and instruction. And together, the timeline was compiled and it is provided in your packet for your review. And we are asking approval of the timeline of this.
Have a motion? Questions, anyone?
I second that.
So motion on the floor by Petra Ramirez, second by Mr. Juan Gonzalez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Item number 7 is the approval of the 2021-2022 Texas Evaluation and Support System T-Test appraisers. And you have been provided with the list of eligible appraisers at this time. And we are recommending that the board approve these appraisers for the 2021-2022 school year.
So move.
Second.
That was number 6?
Yes.
Number 7. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, I missed who made the motion.
Roy, I second.
And who did the second?
Salidas, coach.
I seconded.
Coach? Okay. There's a motion on the floor by Roy Vela, seconded by Ms. Aris Iglesias. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Good evening once again. Agenda item I have is consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the Farmers Project. This agenda item was presented and discussed at the Board of Trustees workshop on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Administration is requesting consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the Farmers Project.
I so move.
Second.
The motion on the floor by Ms. Betty Mendoza, seconded by Mr. Roy Vela. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the playground equipment for elementary campuses. This agenda item was presented and discussed at the Board of Trustees workshop on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Administration is requesting consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the playground equipment for elementary campuses.
I so move.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Petra Ramirez. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Jerry Zamora. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So that I hear we're just proposing, what it says there, the proposal, the budget and the proposal.
Yes, to approve the project and the
We're
budget.
not assigning anybody yet to who.
No, not at this agenda item. Consideration approval of project and proposed budget for synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields at both Veterans Memorial High School and Mission High School. This agenda item was presented and discussed at the Board of Trustees workshop on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Administration is requesting consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields at Veterans Memorial High School and Mission High School.
I so move.
Second.
Second. A motion from Mr. Juan Gonzalez, seconded by Jerry Zamora. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 7-0.
Consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion. This agenda item was presented and discussed at the Board of Trustees workshop on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Administration is requesting consideration and approval of project and proposed budget for the Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion.
So move.
It's been moved by Mr. Roy Vela, seconded by Ms. Betty Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the indoor air quality project. This agenda item was presented and discussed at the Board of Trustees workshop on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Administration is requesting consideration approval of project and proposed budget for the indoor air quality project.
I so move.
Motion on the floor by Petra Ramirez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Roy Vela. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Consideration and approval to authorize administration to conduct a request for qualifications, RFQs, for professional design services for the Farmers Project, the playground equipment for elementary campuses, synthetic turf for baseball and softball fields at Veterans Memorial High School and Mission High School, Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion, and the Indoor Air Quality Project. Administration is presenting these 5 construction projects that exceed the threshold cost limit on recommending and utilizing the district's on-call professional services. This agenda item was presented and discussed at the Board of Trustees workshop on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Administration recommends consideration and approval to authorize administration to conduct a request for qualifications, RFQs, for professional design services for the Farmers Project, playground equipment for elementary campuses, synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields at Veterans Memorial High School and Mission High School, Mission Collegiate High School Physical Education Pavilion, and the Indoor Air Quality Project.
Mr., yes, hello, Mr. Rivera?
Yes, ma'am.
We can hear you.
Okay, so why are we going for RFQs? I thought we had an on-call engineer for these projects.
The on-call engineers were approved for a maximum of $500,000 per project threshold, and these 5 projects exceed that threshold. So
But we've done before getting from the pool, we've gotten people from the pool because of their experience with our district and something else, whatever right, or am I wrong?
We have.
Didn't we get RFQs to get these on-call engineers? And so now we're getting RFQs again?
Yeah, we approved them.
Yeah, but they're saying that.
But it's about the threshold.
The amount of money.
How much is each project?
Mr. Hanson?
Would you like me to?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Years ago, the district had a pool, and the pool was used for many years. It frankly, it was not serving the purpose of complying with Professional Services Procurement Act in the way that's being implemented. So the board wanted to have flexibility. That's the on-call engineering. I guess the solicitation was to select one for different types of professions with a threshold limit of $500,000 budget for any project. And so with that, the proper way to go ahead and solicit a design professional for a project under Professional Services Procurement Act will be to go ahead and solicit an RFQ to select the most qualified based on the demonstrated competence and qualifications for that particular job. And so, so for these projects that are being brought up right now, that's all that will happen. And so it'll go out, to anyone who is qualified, who would like to do it, can submit their name and their information and to be considered for that. And the award will be based upon their demonstrated competence and qualifications, just to get it into a normalized process for awarding such large contracts.
So then we're saying that the on-call engineer that we have now, they can turn in their information as well.
Yes.
They'll be taken into consideration.
It doesn't omit them. It doesn't omit them.
Yes.
My question really was too, because of time, it's gonna take another month or 2 or whatever. And, I feel like, the sooner we get these projects going, the faster that we'll be able to use them, especially, being the farms and the elementary, and collegiate baseball turfs, softball is gonna be coming up, I mean.
Mr. Rivera, is it significantly higher than $500,000?
Yes.
Yes.
$1 million.
The pavilion is 1 million. The indoor quality is approximately 38 million. We have the synthetic turf, is approximately 4.2 million. And the playground equipment is approximately 792,000. And the farmers is approximately 707,653. So they're above the on-call professional services threshold.
Can I ask a silly question, maybe?
Go ahead. So we couldn't keep the on-call engineer for those last 2 projects since it's very close to the 500?
That would be, if the administration were to do that, that would be inconsistent with the board's
Correct.
action. And so the administration would not do that.
You can't.
But it's a substantial amount of money, and the solicitation process, is rigorous in terms of having to publish in the newspaper for a certain number of weeks and that sort of thing. So the process is somewhat more streamlined than soliciting a contractor. And when you're talking about delays, usually the delay in finding a builder is waiting on the plans and specs to be done. And so, of course, that's not present when you're soliciting a design professional. So it's a much shorter period of time between you're authorizing the budget and the time that someone would be contacted for consideration.
So, Mr. Rivera, how much time are we talking about if we do go out for RFQs?
That would, we would have to work with the purchasing department to do the scope of work and advertise for the RFQs. And is that a two?
We could bring it back in September.
You can bring it back in September.
Thank you, sir.
The farmers project, I don't, if I remember correctly, was there a grant involved there or?
It's the infrastructure. And the grant is for the instructional piece. This is.
Yeah, this is the infrastructure. Yeah.
Okay, then I move that we approve.
There's a motion on the floor from Ms. Arias Iglesias, a second from Ms. Petra Vasan. Ramirez, sorry about that. I'm making her single again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. Ms. Romando?
Well,
Just
remember, the items to consider, the board will consider and may act on the following items under consent agenda. Any trustee may request the removal of an item from the consent agenda for individual consideration and action. And all these items from number 1
37.
to, yes, were to 37 were discussed last week during committee at length. And the staff asked the board if they could be placed on consent agenda to be voted as one item. However, if the board chooses to take out items to discuss, we can do that as well.
Mr. President, if no board member has any objections, can we go ahead and accept the consent agenda from item number 1 to number 37?
Motion on the floor.
Second.
Mr. Jerry Zamora, second by Mr. Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Betty, did you vote? I couldn't see him. Betty's vote. Betty, can you hear me? Did you vote?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Sorry, I didn't see your hand. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0.
Before we go into executive session, informational items. Number 1, the annual internal audit plan for 21-22. Fourth quarterly investment report, the tax levy adjustments for the month of June 2021. The financial integrity rating system of Texas, and that is a rating for the fiscal year 2019-2020. Last week, on Wednesday, the Texas Education Agency did publish the ratings for the financial accountability system. The accountability system was not canceled for financial. The one that was canceled was the one for academic achievement. So we were very happy to report the highest rating, superior rating, with 100%. So again, congratulations to all of the staff involved with that. And then personnel, employments, resignations, transfers, and compensation changes. Presentation regarding House Bill 547, homeschool participants in UIL activities that was presented last week as well, and a presentation regarding ESER 3 update, and we did provide that. Also, important dates to remember will be September 1st, 2021, the Board of Trustees workshop at 6:30 p.m. September 8th, 2021, regular Board of Trustees meeting at 6:30. After executive session, then we will come back to possible nomination and election of Mission CISD Board of Trustees officers and Board of Trustees reorganization. So we are ready to go into executive session, Madam President.
So this meeting is adjourned. It is 8:32.
Not adjourned.
No, executive
Adjourned.
session.
No, we're going to.
Executive.
Agenda.
Yes, we are ready to go into executive session, and it is 8:32.
8:32, and we're going into executive session. Everybody need a 10-minute break?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, my God.
Executive session, and it is now 10:03 p.m. Dr. Perez?
Yes, ma'am. And recommendations and approvals of the selection for ESER 3 licensed professional counselors. And the administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Nancy Garcia and Miguel Garcia.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Roy Venos, seconded by Petra Ramirez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
ESER 3 grant accountant. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Annabelle Garza.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Petra Ramirez and seconded by Jerry Zamora. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
ESER 3 social workers. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Sandra Campos, Melissa Gallegos, and Nelly Cano.
So
I
moved.
so moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Betty Mendoza, seconded by Jerry Zamora. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Assistant Superintendent for Finance, the administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve Joel Garcia.
So moved.
Been
Second.
moved by Juan Gonzalez and seconded by Roy Vela. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations, Mr. Garcia.
The next item, Ms. Minnie, is the possible nomination.
Before I go into that, I'd like to, just a little note that I have here that I've had for a couple of weeks. I would like to thank Dr. Perez. Thank you for your dedication to our schools and teachers and students. You putting in countless hours to stay afloat is to be admired. As one of my Lion members said, she sure is small but mighty. You can tell that she loves what she does. Thank you for the opportunity of working along with you to make our district what it is today. I have enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure.
May God continue to give you the strength and ability to continue strong. Of course, I can't forget your partners in crime, Dr. Roberts, Lorena, Christy, Mr. Flores, Rumata, Ms. Wilson, Ms. Cruz, and so many of you that have helped shape our dream team. Thank you. I've admired you all this past year. Ms. Ana, I know you're not here, but you'll hear. Thanks a million for all the headaches we gave you. We will always love you and truly miss you. And we know Cindy will do a great job. To Mr. Hanson, thank you for all your advice to keep us on the right track. To our technicians, gosh, what can we say?
Yeah.
Mr. Garcia, Noe, and each one of you that has been here to help us to be here after another interesting year. We would have not have done it without each one of you. Thank you and God bless you all. To each of you on the board, what can I tell you? I am honored to have served as your president this year and want everyone to know that I have been truly blessed. All of you have done a great job in accompanying the team of 8. You each made a difference for the betterment of our teachers and students. Never forget how important it is for this board to continue to work together and support each other. Remember, one team, one heart, all for Mission CISD, to keep leading the way. God bless each one of you. Thank you. Are we ready to elect officers? I entertain a motion from anyone.
I'll have the motion.
Cyrus?
I move that we have Mr. Jerry Zamora as president, Ms. Betty Mendoza as vice president, and Mr. Roy Vela as secretary.
I need a second.
I second.
The motion on the floor is that we have a slate of Jerry Zamora for president, Betty Mendoza for vice president, and Roy for secretary. Do we vote individually, or how do you want to vote?
Raise your hand.
I'm sorry?
However you want to do it.
How do,
In favor?
You would just, oh, I'm sorry, Madam President, you would just, all those in favor?
Same.
oh, okay.
Just as a normal vote.
Okay, all those in favor of the slate, raise your hand. Let me do it that way.
Okay.
Okay, Jerry? Iris? Roy?
And Betty.
Betty, did you raise your hand? Okay. All those opposed? Okay, that's. So the vote is 4 for the slate, 3 against. So the motion carries. Jerry is president, Betty is vice president, and Roy as secretary. Congratulations to each one of you. And Jerry, if you want to come and get your gavel. Close this up. That's too close.
Motion to close the meeting.
Move. So move.
Anybody second?
You don't want to go? I second.
Everybody wants to stay? And take me that much.
I second.
Okay. Roy made the motion. Second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. It's now 10:10.
Congratulations, everybody. Thank you.
You got your plan, Roy?
Yeah. For this.
Another one.
Board members, can you please remember where this is?
Yes.
Okay, so we all can